Hey, this is Mattias Eklundh from Sweden, and you're listening to Metal Wani. All right, the pagans and the Vikings will soon invade India in October. Good night. Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing good, sir. How are you?
I'm good. It's nice talking to you.
Nice talking to you as well. And I got to tell you something first before we proceed.
Sure.
Thank you very much for doing the interview.
Yeah, sure.
And
It's my pleasure.
it might be a little crazy sometimes because I don't get to interview a crazy guitarist every day. So so I hope we'll have fun for next 35 minutes.
Absolutely, no problem whatsoever. It's my pleasure. It's all good.
Awesome. Now you are way ahead of time. I mean, where do you get these crazy ideas from? I mean, playing guitar using a comb or your son's little driver toy.
Yeah.
Okay, these might have been new way back in 1995, when you're playing guitar with those clips and remote controllers.
Yeah.
But do I sense some sort of an effect from Viking food or Swedish potato?
I think so, yeah. It helps to, Sweden is, compared to India, it's a tiny country and there's absolutely nobody living here. We're only 9 million people and we got really nothing to do. We have harsh winters and you have to stay inside and practice our instruments because outside is like minus 20 degrees Celsius and so on. So the thing is to actually allow yourself to get bored and stay away from social media and internet and text messages and to actually work with music and to be able to come up with new stuff. I don't really go into my studio and think that, hey, I'm gonna do something super duper special or different today. I just check my gut vibe and most of the stuff that I do that is somewhat unorthodox, like playing with dildos and chopsticks or whatever. It all happens by mistake. I never plan anything. I just believe it or not, the dildo was given to me as a present. The chopstick was another mistake that I dropped it on the guitar while eating food, and the comb was because my luggage was lost, and the airline company gave me this kind of survival kit with one size fits all kind of underpants and a comb to brush my ugly hair with and so on, comb my hair. And I started to groom the strings with the comb, and I thought, bloody hell. Yes, I never do anything for for the sake of being awkward or unorthodox. I do it because it's basically mistakes I bump into, which is it's all good. I have very big liberal ears that I keep open, so anything goes. And it has to be some kind of musical point, otherwise it's really no use. So
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I agree with that. Now, I have to tell you this. I have been a huge fan of yours. I've followed your music, gear, etc. But I'm sure you'll not find a bigger fan. And I have to tell you one more thing. How many times till now have people asked you, what sort of a fancy pedals do you use? Because your fans know that you don't use it, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah. I absolutely don't use anything. I still get emails from people asking what kind of whammy pedal still because of the natural harmonics and all that stuff.
Right.
So it's really weird. But yes, I get emails quite often. What kind of blah 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 and this and that, and that's how it is. But it's okay. I don't want to be a schmuck and say, hey, I'm not using anything. But there's so much stuff in the guitar itself. You don't really need to have any pedals in my book.
Absolutely. I was actually wondering because a guitarist's fingers is his tone. Let's say his tone or pedal effect. A lot of people are gear oriented and spend hours tweaking pedals and whatnot to get a signature sound.
Exactly.
In that context, what would be your advice to someone looking for a signature sound?
To spend a lot of time with your instrument. There's no way around it. really that's what it's all about today. Everybody wants to have a stupid app or whatever. Hey, how can I learn to play fast? And
Right.
and is there something I can download and watch some YouTube videos or whatever? And it's kind of weird because I usually tell them, well, you have to spend 15 years playing 10 hours a day, and then maybe you can find your
Yeah.
sound. If you have a sound of your own, not everybody has a sound of your own. It comes back to personality and who you are and what you want to do, and if you can play it like you mean it, and again, growing your own mustache, as I've always been talking about.
Right.
So it's not easy in that context.
Absolutely, I
That's how
agree
it
with
is.
that. Now, how excited are you? Because you'll be coming to India.
Yeah. Now the first tour was in 2005, and then I've been to India many times. The first tour was 3.5 weeks. I played Bangalore many times as well. So yeah, it's going to be great. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm super duper happy about the possibility to do this because of I could never orchestrate this from Sweden alone. So I have some
Right.
really nice friends like Siddharth Kadadi and so on.
Yes.
Who's been to the Free Guitar Camp. It is a lovely chap setting everything up because I'm packed with work as it is from here, so I need someone again to get it together in India, and it's looking really good. People sign up and it's going to be packed, and I'm ready to give everybody a good freaky spank.
That's wonderful. Now there has not like you basically put forward your expectations towards the show. But what about the fans? What about the people? What can they expect?
Oh, they can expect a very intense week, and they will be super duper tired. They will be exhausted afterwards. I'm going to show them way too many things to comprehend and absorb in that little time.
Hmm.
But that's the plan, because the Free Guitar Camp India is the mere beginning of things to come. So
Right.
it's you attend, and then you have a year after that working with all the stuff we've gone through. So it's not a beginner kind of thing, but you don't have to be a super duper professional. It's not about speed. It's about wanting to learn and to break
Absolutely.
new ground. So that's what it is.
That's wonderful. So you're here to tighten the screws of these guitarists who are just
Exactly. Tighten the screws. That's a good.
absolutely. Now, are there any guests that's gonna come down for a lesson or two?
Yeah, we might get some guests, because it's nice to have a different sound and a different approach. But
Right.
as with the Swedish Free Guitar Camp, which is, well, it's just based in Sweden, but we have people from all over the world, including Indians. We never give away any names. It's just a
Right.
bonus thing. If it happens,
Surprise element.
yeah, absolutely.
Oh, wonderful. Now, you've been playing and practicing since a long time. You say you're from the dinosaur age.
Yes.
Now, how was your practice routine like back, when you were young? What were your achievements and what were you looking forward to?
Well, I've always had a deep, profound passion in music, and that's always been my driving force to create something out of nothing. And
Right.
this is what really gets me going nowadays as well. To grab a cup of coffee and go into my studio and sit behind the drums, or play the bass, or play guitar, play the ukulele or the zither, anything goes, or the kanjira, and see if I can come up with stuff. And that's really my drive. So I quit school when I was around 15, 16 years old, and sat home and practiced for 10 hours a day. Had a crappy 4-track recording device with cassette back in the
Right.
days.
Right.
That sounded terrible, but I was able myself and improve and work a lot of stuff. So I've never been this kind of guy who sat down with a metronome,
Okay.
tapping. I believe in my foot, because I believe in sometimes you have to adjust rhythm, and life, it doesn't work like a metronome.
Absolutely.
Sometimes you're lost on the road, and sometimes, say, the drummer blew up, and the next day the bass player moved to Brazil, and nothing goes as planned. So I don't believe in setting the metronome. And I got an email just before I called you here from a guy saying, I want to take lessons, and I've been playing for 12 years, and I can play in 230 BPMs, but I need to get faster. I said, what the hell? It's not what it's about. It's about music, and
Absolutely.
and So I see a lot of players and I get sent a lot of stuff, and very little means something to me because it's just fine motor skill and technique, and but nobody's got anything to say. So so that's the thing. I can't remember your question, but
no, we did talk about your routine. But
okay.
I have to say this, like since you mentioned about ukulele, have you seen those covers of a guy who's been doing some Slayer covers, some Cannibal Corpse covers on ukulele?
Yeah, it's all good. It's good fun.
That's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Cool. Now you gotta tell us about your Apple Horn signature guitar. It must be really good since you don't use pedals. So how is it different from the other guitars?
It's a stunning device, and I will bring my Apple Horn 8, my brand new signature guitar with 8 strings. That's going to be released in September by comparison. And it's got 27 frets with 2 true temperament frets. The frets are not straight, so it's perfect intonation, and that's all I need. I love it. The guitar is so well built by my friend Itaru Kanu, and with the Swedish invention of the true temperament frets, guitar playing has never been more fun. I just adore it. It's absolutely fabulous. I've been working with the guy since 1996, and it's the same with Laney Amplifications back in 96 as well, and it's not necessarily easy to play. You have to get your shit together, but I like that. I like the approach that you don't plug in and everything is super smooth and you overplay like crazy. Each note matters, I have to really fight to play, but I like that. I because when you play well, it will respond so well, and it will sound all the better, than all the Line 6 products and all that stuff.
That's right. Now you also use temperament frets. I mean, what are those? I mean, it looks more like frets oriented to play microtonal stuff.
Yeah. The thing is, guitar with straight frets is just impossible to tune correctly. They will always differ, on various places on the necks. And my good friend Anders Tidell from Stockholm, he came up with this one day. He said, well, enough with this out of tune, badly intonated shit. So he took away the frets, and then he measured where are the correct notes, and then he shaped the frets after the correct notes. So now it's just the opposite of microtonal or semitone. It's the correct intonation. So you have the same. If you play various octaves, it's still the same note, Whereas with straight frets, it's just a mathematical ability to tune it correctly, and now it's been adjusted, and I love it. It's just great because I've always been very pissed off about bad intonation and that you have to bend and compensate all the time. And a lot of people say, and I've heard this a million times, but it's in the nature of the guitar to be slightly out of tune, and it's rock and roll. But for me, it's like driving a car with 3 tires instead of 4 tires. Why would you, if you can do better, why don't you just do it better, So true temperament frets and comparison guitars is just, it's top notch. It's top notch stuff,
That's absolutely true. But I have to tell you something, that yellow is not Viking. It's a very happy color.
Exactly. But I'm a happy Viking, and you have to move on. So, but I have the new guitar is black, Viking awesome. Black. Yeah,
that sounds cool. Now, we were talking about the speed earlier, so it's evident that the quest to become faster has killed, a guitarist's power of expression in songs.
Yeah.
So, where do you think is the music heading these days?
It's hard to say. I am I'm a dinosaur. I'm a pagan. I'm a buffoon. I have absolutely no clue what's going on out there, because in order to come up with a sound of your own, I listen to, today just alone, I've been putting 48 CDs into iTunes with Ella Fitzgerald. I bought a super duper beefy collection, and I need to have it in my iPod. So I never listened to. I buy a lot of music, but most of it has got nothing to do with metal music.
Right.
It could be a klezmer music or gypsy jazz or classical Indian music or traditional Japanese music or whatever, So because then I get a different input, a different influence, and all that stuff. So I have no clue where it's going, and to tell you the truth, I'm not really into it. If I hear something, I keep my ears open, and people say you got to check this out, then I check it out, and sometimes I'm flabbergasted. Sometimes I think it's running out of juice pretty fast. It can be, oh,
Right.
this is a kick-ass production, or this is a cool video. But again, it's got very little substance. People,
Absolutely.
they really don't sing about stuff and so on. And I'm concerned about a lot of things that I sing about it. But that's just my way. Everybody can do their own way. It's just a matter of growing your own mustache.
True, that's right. We had a chat with Mr. Ron Jarzombek,
Yeah,
and we asked him about the same thing. What's his opinion on the current music scene? And
yeah,
his reply was, I mean, it just blew my mind away. He was like, "Quit playing the same crack everybody and their mom is playing."
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
was
yeah.
completely blown away. But that seems to be the reality. And with all these technical gadgets and other coming in, into the picture, is it
Yeah.
getting more difficult for a new age musician to, dig out stuff of his own signature and style?
Yeah, it depends. For me, I get kind of upset when people say, "Well, everything's been said and done, and it's just the same old thing."
Right,
Because I feel we've just been scratching the surface, and not everything goes back to Hendrix. We need to move on.
right,
There's lots of stuff to be discovered. On the other hand, I totally agree with Ron, because it's. A lot of stuff I hear is like, yeah, we've heard it all before, blah, blah, blah. Yes, you play very smooth, you play fast, and you still have nothing to say.
true.
And on the other hand, it's great to see some of the new players kicking ass. But for me, who's been in the business for such a long time, I've survived on show business for 26 years, and I'm a family provider, and I built my studio and everything. I'm just a happy camper. I live in my house in the Swedish woods with my family and everything. I see a lot of hot guns. They are super hot for a year, and you see them at trade shows, and there are always videos, and this is the hip shit, and I maybe bring them to the free guitar camp, and so,
Right.
and the next year they're gone. They are just that they're not there anymore. Then there is something else, because we have extremely short attention span. So I'm quite grateful for being 44 years old and starting out when I did, because I have a global platform, which
Right.
is really hard to get nowadays, because everything is Facebook and social media, and the next post, and then you're gone.
Bingo.
So it's quite frustrating. But again, I am a dinosaur, and I do what I do, and I have a great following, and that actually provides good food on
Right, I agree with that.
Star Camp India, and the next day I played with the symphony orchestra, and the next day I go on the road with Free Kitchen. So it's a beautiful thing, but I can feel the frustration from young players as well. How the hell do I make money on my music,
Right.
and so on?
I completely agree with that. And you gotta tell
Yeah.
me this. How did you come up with this idea of the name Freak Kitchen? All the crazy food, silly stuff, and all that. What's the concept?
Well, to tell you the truth, I really don't have a clue. I started the band 21 years ago,
Right.
and I was just okay. We need a name, and I took out a paper, and I'm still deeply influenced by Frank Zappa, and in my teenage years, I spent a lot of time learning to play Frank Zappa music, and one of his songs was called "The Dangerous Kitchen," and I thought, well, kitchen. There's really no band name with kitchen, and I always liked the word freak. I am a freak, but it's a terrible name. But hey, you can call your band anything,
Anything,
and.
yeah.
The thing is, it's kind of stupid because you have two K's in a row. Free kitchen, So sometimes it's like, oh, it's a free kitchen, or freak chicken, or whatever. So it's kind of weird, but it's okay. You do what you do, and you move on. And now we have Cooking with Pagans, the new album coming out, and with a little bit of gastronomic title,
Right.
and so on. So, but
That's awesome.
I just do stuff.
That's awesome. Now, you mentioned about Frank Zappa. So you were introduced to him, Django, and other stuff. You
Yeah.
engrossed yourself in so many kinds of music and genres. So versatility is amazing. Definitely recommended to listen to whatever you can and take inspiration. But
Yeah.
but sometimes a musician during the early stages tend to get stuck with so
Yeah.
many influences, where
Yeah.
he does not know where to go or what to do.
Yeah.
Did this happen to you as well?
Not really. I know exactly what you're talking about, but the thing is, I don't know what's wrong with me, but I have so much music inside. It's a matter of just finding time to create it.
out.
Yeah, so that's what it is. I already, we have the new album coming out in September, but I already began on the next one, and I just composed a lot of stuff for the free guitar camp, both in Sweden and India, and so on. And it's just getting more and more intense and more advanced and everything.
Right.
So it's there's just absolutely no stop. The thing is, you gotta listen to stuff with open ears,
Yes.
because it matters how you listen to it. I go to clinic tours and I play in India and everything, and I talk to the Indian kids about Carnatic music, for instance, from where you come from, and they said,
Right.
this is boring. This. Yes, but even if you're a metalhead, there's so much stuff in this music that is so rewarding and so good to know.
Absolutely agree with that. Now
So,
let's talk
yeah.
about Mr. Libido.
Yeah.
Now you gotta tell us. I mean, on a let me say, not on a serious level though. What kind of drugs are you on when you come up with when you came up with Mr. Libido? I mean,
Yeah, well, it was kind of a protest record in its own very strange lo-fi way. It was at the time there was all these stupid commercials with really pumped up men music going on and so, and everybody expected my first solo album to be guitar widdly widdly, and I felt,
mhm.
well, what the hell, as I've always been walking the road less traveled, so to speak. I decided to do push-ups for a summer and grease myself in oil and I have this skull mask that my mother gave me when I was 6 years old, God bless
Uh-huh.
her, and and just create this really really cheap techno pastiche kind of thing. So
Right.
it's a very I don't know, low budget album and everything, but it is what it is. So
Absolutely.
I'm happy about it. I'm really proud that I did this album. So yeah.
Right. Now, was this project stopped because your libido was answered?
Sorry. Yeah, nah, not really. There might be some follow up. We'll see.
Oh, cool. And also the song, the serious musician fit
Yeah.
your description back, when you were full on practicing, I think.
Yeah, pretty much, and it's also a little kick in the nuts to the classical world, and being
Right.
somewhat smart ass and so on. And I'm so important and everything. People
Huh.
should relax.
Oh,
Yes.
wicked. Awesome. Now you're featuring, in the Axemen of Sweden documentary. So congratulations for that.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you.
Now you're gonna tell us about it. Is it more like a meeting of Viking gods? There seems to be a rumor of it being aired at the camp here in India. I'm not sure though.
Now it's still in the works, and then they're trying to get a lot of more Swedish player like Yngwie and everything. So they're still working on it. It's really two independent filmmakers, but it's going to be great. There are some cool people involved. They just did Per Nilsson of Scar Symmetry. He was at the camp and teaching, and they've Key Marcello and John Norum and all the name players, and they're good guys and they're working hard for it. So, and I was asked to contribute, and of course, hey, I'm an Axeman of Sweden, so let's do it. No,
Awesome.
it's cool, but I think they have at least a year more of working with it before it's done. So yeah,
Oh, that's cool. Now let's talk about India a bit.
yeah,
You've been into Indian music a lot, been
yeah.
playing around with them, the ragas, collaborating with Indian musicians. That's
Oh,
amazing. Now,
yeah.
tell us something about how you associated yourself with India.
It's weird, because of course, I'm not Indian. I'm very Swedish, very white boy. But I'm flabbergasted and fascinated by mostly Carnatic music, but
Uh-huh.
also lots of northern classical music as well, Hindustani music, and because of tonality and especially when it comes to rhythm, it feels like so much we do not, and
Mhm.
therefore I find it really weird when traveling in India and the kids Meshuggah or whatever. I said, listen, hey, you have all the tools you need in India. You have this cool shit, you
Right.
have everything you need, but you need to hear it with different ears. If someone just go, hey, takati mi takachuna takati, and do chronicle crazies, I don't want to hear this shit. I grew up with this or whatever, but I said it's all there. It's all the
Absolutely.
tools you need, and it started many years ago when I started listening to Indian music, and then I started to play with lots of fabulous Indian musicians, both South and North Indian. The Vinayakram brothers and also Niladri Kumar and
Right.
Rajit Maroth on drums and everything. everything. And I learned so much just from sitting down and clapping hands with kids in Chennai, and just doing conical with them. So I love it. India is like such a punch in the face, because you see more in 2 days in India than you see a lifetime in Sweden, because of the intensity. I remember one night I was standing in Kolkata and just in a street corner, I was just completely floored. It's like, how the intensity, and hey, watch out, the kid and the cow and the dog, and hey, it was just we were just 9 million people. It's completely empty.
Absolutely.
So the thing is, there's no way back. Once you've been to India, you can't go back. Life will not be the same, So
I agree with that. Now you got to tell us about the food you have tasted here.
Oh, I love the food. I'm a vegetarian. I've been a vegetarian for 16 years, and India is paradise. Even on domestic flights, it's 90% veggie. So and it's cool. You walk into McDonald's and we don't serve beef products here. It's lovely, So God bless India.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And India is also your favorite place to make music videos now.
Absolutely. And I steal bits and pieces again. I think that's another wonderful thing about Indian musicians and the Indian mentality is that you're not so picky. It's like, okay, I ask you, how do you spell your name? Owais, Vitek, Nabi. And say, well, you spell it like you hear it. And it's, it's no big deal. And if I change a note, maybe in a raga, I'm not going to get arrested or get a curse or whatever. Whereas in lots of Latin American music, it's really, really strict, But when I, take something, a raga or a rhythm structure, a T-high, a korvai, and make it my own and mess it up a little bit and make it like Swedish Indian, all my Indian friends will say, oh, great, this is a new influence in our music. And when we like it, how did you do that? And so I really like that, because, again, learning Indian music takes a lifetime, So, and I just know a little bit. I've been scratching the surface of the surface, so to speak.
Cool. Now let's have a rapid fire round. Some silly questions.
Sure.
Now, if you found a comb after waking up, would you comb your hair or you'll play guitar with it?
I'll play guitar because I have too much hair. I need a brush.
Awesome. Now, which of these takes longer time? Saying out your full name or one jazz raj?
My full name, Mattias Johannes Eklundh. Yes.
Awesome. Now, Frederick from Meshuggah and you are the same person, but from different dimensions. True or false?
Well, good friends, and we like lots of good stuff together. We have kids in the same age. They're going to get married. He has a daughter named Maya, and so I think it's both true and false. Yes.
Yeah, at least you guys make the same expression, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, wonderful. Now you were pretty, focused as a guitarist. Decided to take up guitars when you were, let's say, when you were a sperm. Now you could shred it with your tongue before you could even hold chords. And now your sperm or your son is mightier than you, is it?
Yeah, pretty much.
Now I've heard he helps you practice and judge guitar competitions when you can't decide on a winner.
Yeah, a little bit like that. Yes, I ask him for advice because I trust his gut feeling. He's got great gut feeling. He really can tell this is good, Dad, and this is crap. He goes for energy and output, and he's a good guy. I love being around him. His name is Gabriel, so yeah.
Oh, cool. Now you say you are a metal bastard, and guitar is a bastard instrument.
Yes.
Now, is that why you deviated from drums to guitars?
I like to put it that I changed from drums to guitar because I find it hard to write songs on a hi-hat. So that was the main reason. Really.
Makes sense, huh?
Yeah.
Cool. Now they say if a musician has ego, a person also in general, he will never get anywhere in life. But to sit on a guru chair while teaching which is higher than every other chair because of your huge ego. This is violating the rules of life. You got to explain this.
Yeah, well, the thing is, I have the guru chair. I sit on even a cabinet and the guru chair. It's mostly because we sit many people in a tiny room in the Swedish woods, and I can't be seen. Otherwise, that's the main thing. I have no ego problem, really. So it's the guru chair is slightly higher because I need to be seen, so they can watch my fingers do dirty work on the fretboard.
Right now, okay. Choose one of one among the following.
Yep.
If you could jam with one person, just one, would it be Django Reinhardt or Frank Zappa?
Ooh, I think Django. Yeah.
Thor or Loki?
Thor.
There's no money in jazz or jazz Raj.
Jazz Raj.
Which is mightier, beard or mustache?
Beard.
Now you got to tell me this. Isn't this the best interview you've done so far?
Absolutely.
There we go. Thanks a lot, Mattias. I had a great time, having a chat with you. It's an honor, and I look forward to see you live at Freak Kitchen next month.
Absolutely, and I will, I will be in Bangalore for a Laney clinic before the Freaky Tour camp, right?
Absolutely. I stay in Bangalore, so I'll be here to meet you.
Very good. I'll see you then.
There we go. Thanks, Mattias. And
Thank you, sir.
A message to all your fans who are looking forward to see you here. What's going to be a message in a sentence, crisp and short?
In a sentence. Well, stay freaky, stay Indian. See you in October. God bless and take care. Grow your own mustache. That was a long sentence. Good night.